Hello and welcome to this podcast. We're here to discuss the upcoming Legal Innovators Conference organized by Cosmonauts. My guest today is lawyer Rachel Devidal. Hello, Rachel.
Hello.
Could we just start with you introducing yourself and saying what kind of law you practice?
Yeah, sure. I am a lawyer by background. I am a counsel at Bignon Lebray, which is a French law firm based in Paris with a local presence in Lille, Lyon, and Aix-en-Provence. And I am based in Lyon. I work exclusively with players in the healthcare sector, mainly pharmaceutical and biotech companies, medtech firms, healthcare professional, and also home healthcare providers. My practice sits at the intersection of healthcare, regulatory law, intellectual property, and data, of course. So, day to day, that means advising clients on French and EU regulation and compliance, drafting and negotiating contracts. And also, beyond my client work, I co chair the Legal Tech and AI Commission of the Lyon Bar, which reflects something I care a lot about, which is how technology and better operation can make legal work more efficient and more valuable to clients. So, yes, that's a direction I'm keen on to develop further.
Okay, so in health law, do you see AI mainly as a legal risk or an opportunity for lawyers?
You mean AI used by lawyer, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, as you know, as lawyer, we have an ethical duty of competence. That means that in our practice, we have to train ourselves, we have to keep up to date, we have to be aware of legal developments, but also of tools, new technology, and new way to practice to match also with the expectations of our clients. And this duty of competence implies that we have always had to check our sources, read articles, literature, challenge what we are reading, and understand what we are working on. That's this principle applies also to our use of AI. So we have to check our sources or AI sources. We have to verify, read the court decisions cited by AI, challenge the reasoning proposed by AI. So, yes, that's the very core of our profession, and AI must not dilute our ethical obligations. So, it's not really a risk to be managed, but it's also a challenge to focus on the core of our profession with this principle of competence. And beyond that, our ability to leverage AI can genuinely lead us to rethink how we can support innovation. It's a very good opportunity to refocus our work on what is strategic for the clients, on human, and what matters for them. So, if you think about that, what matters for our clients is not the time you spend to draft the contract, it's the process of settling the key terms of the contracts with your client. So, gathering your clients with the other party around the table, negotiating, discussing, challenging, proposing alternatives, being creative. So, with AI accelerating drafting the contracts, we can now focus on the real value we create as a lawyer, which is different than just spending hours to drafting and typing, even if we like that, typing and drafting the contracts. But that's not the value the client is looking for. So, in that way,
Uh,
it's an opportunity.
yeah, it's very comprehensive answer. We've discussed with a number of firms, and we had different feedbacks regarding their approach to AI. I mean, some of them really embrace it from the get go. Some others say, okay, let's wait for the others, the competitors. They will, probably have issues. We will learn and would come as a second wave. What was the strategy at your firm?
Yes, at Bignon Lebray, we have a very proactive strategy. We have developed our own tool. So we have our own internal AI, which is evolving months after month. So the current version is the maybe 5 or something, which is very different from the V1 we had 1 year ago or 18 months. But the idea is to have something very internal with no dependency to one provider and to technology. So to be very free to change, to adapt, to modify. We can supervise and check the security, sovereignty,
Yeah.
confidentiality issues. So we have this internal. And in the meantime, we are performing tests with providers of the market to be also aware of the performance of the other AI tools on the market. So we are trying, of course, Claude, which is the very leader now on the market, but we also tried Gemini, Legora. So we try to keep up to date, aware
Right.
of the proposition of the market, but we are in the proactive team of the law firms. Yes.
Interesting.
Okay. And what legal risk do companies most often underestimate when using AI?
There are many legal risks, but the first one is to be so exciting by the fact that you can be much more efficient, quicker, faster, that you forget to be as involved as you can be traditionally. But that's also because it's very excited. And I think it's the very beginning. So if we all respect our principle of competency, the legal risk can be mitigated, I think. But you have all other risks. One risk is opacity because AI is efficient. So there is something we call the black box. So that's the fact that AI is going very fast and to the results, and you cannot catch the step after step of the reasonings. When you work with AI, you have to be able to challenge every step of the reasoning to understand and to prove how you obtain these results. But now with very, very efficient model of AI, you go directly to the results. And if you are not able to decompile all the process and all the path followed by the AI to obtain the result, then it creates a risk. That's a risk you can see for lawyers, but also for clients in life science industry, but with all professional using AI in their activities.
We could even think that the current technology in AI is probabilistic, so it really doesn't care about the logic. It's totally based on statistics, and that's the added value of a lawyer. It's like, okay, I see what the result is, I see the output, but I am applying my legal reasoning to reconstruct something that the AI didn't perform, and to explain why it makes sense to achieve such a result.
Yeah, exactly. That's also part of our responsibility to be able to challenge the results and to understanding and to appropriate the results as our
Absolutely.
own reasoning and our own conclusion.
Mm.
Mm. So, what simple rules should every law firm adopt before using AI?
Ah, um, I like this question. The first one will be training, 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 I would say. Because without training, you cannot achieve the good performance you are targeting. But also, I think we have to understand how the AI is working, why, and also to know the different providers, the different LLM, to be able to choose the good provider for the good client and for the good task. I cannot avoid having to select a specific tool for a specific client and having another tool for another client. You can think that if you're working for the French administration, maybe you will have to use Mistral AI for some sovereignty reasons. But if you're working for another client who is less involved in sovereignty issues, you can use maybe another tool because he's very keen on efficiency. So we have to be well aware of the panel of AI tool on the market to be able to push one solution to another to our client saying, okay, are you okay for me using AI? Yes, no. If yes, are you okay for me using this tool, which involves that this will be, I don't know, the provider is based in Europe, in the US, or I don't know where. And here are the competencies, the consequences of this choice. So training would be the first solution and my first recommendation. The second one would be do not simply prohibit using AI to your teams and to your lawyer, because that's the best way. Yeah,
Yes.
that's the best way. They will shadow AI every day and you will have no way to check and to monitor that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because you just described in very efficient terms the training that we're providing and the form not legal. It's exactly, but it was exactly thought out as you just described, which is let's not be promoting one tool in particular because it doesn't make sense. You have several tasks, several activities, and it could be that one tool is better at this one, and not all the activities that you perform in a law firm are good candidates for automation or AI.
One final question. What can participants in the conference expect to hear from your panel?
Oh, um, I would like to share with them the view of the Lyon Bar with using AI and the change of our profession. Also, some feedback on what we see from the US markets using AI. So, something very prospective on our profession and how we can expect to be working in the upcoming years. But also the vision we are discussing in Lyon Bar on the use of AI in the firm, whether you are a very small firm, middle firm, or international firm, and even if you are working as an individual, because we are all concerned with this topic.
I think you have in Lyon, you have a legal tech hub, which is one of
Yes,
the most
exactly. Yes.
dynamic.
Yeah.
Can you talk to us about a bit?
Yes, of course. I chair this incubator hub. So the idea is to, because we are not startup managers, so it's a hub. Our assistance is limited, but the objective is to gather entrepreneurs and legal tech project leaders together to facilitate the relation, the discussion, sharing experience, and so on. So we try to create a success path for them to not be alone with your project and working as a lawyer and having a project in the same time and being totally
Overwhelmed.
lost. Yes. So
Okay.
yes, we're trying to support.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So thanks so much for participating in this podcast. And we look forward to meeting you in real life at the
Yeah.
conference.
It was a
See you
pleasure.
there.
Thank you very
Cheers.
much. Thank you very much.